Hey Bears fans, we are just 3 days away from Sunday Night Football against those hated Green Bay Packers, and I have a challenge for you guys. I need to reach 38,000 subscribers before kickoff or else. We're 340 subs away. Can we get there? It's a lofty goal, but that's what I'm trying to get there, and I think we can with your help. So if you want free daily videos, free watch party coming up on Sunday where we break it down, have live play-by-play and a scoreboard and all of that as well. Subscribe. More Bears videos, including today's news and rumors coming up right now. Today's episode of Chicago Bears Now is presented by Manscaped. If you want to keep it clean downstairs this holiday season, there is no better products than what Manscaped has, including the Lawnmower 4.0. Get 20% off plus free shipping with promo code BEARS20 when you go to manscaped.com. We'll tell you a little bit more about their products later on in the show. Let's go ahead and get into today's Bears Rumors Roundup here. And we'll start on the coaching search. I put search because they still have a head coach, if they have a coaching search. How about hiring Leslie Frazier, the defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills? Two smoking Jays. People are definitely talking on this one. A bunch of you guys were sliding into my DMs on Instagram. Like, did you see the ESPN report that Leslie Frazier could be in the mix? Yeah, Dan Graziano and Jeremy Fowler kind of did a coaching hotboard update, if you will, and obviously the Bears are expected to be open, assuming Matt Nagy does not have an incredible rally here to return. He's expected to be gone. Now, Graziano and Fowler said, yeah, they would have interest in the Bills DC, Leslie Frazier, who is 62 years old, by the way. They did mention, too, that you could bring their quarterbacks coach, Ken Dorsey, who has worked with Josh Allen as well, to come in as offensive coordinator. So it could be a little bit of a combo where Frazier's the head coach and Dorsey's the OC in Chicago. Here's what Graziano had to say in this write-up on ESPN.com, saying, quote, "There's a fair bit of smoke connecting Bills defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier to Chicago. The question then would be, who would he bring as offensive coordinator to oversee the development of Fields? Current Bills quarterbacks coach Ken Dorsey could be a candidate." Let me be clear, and this is not because I don't like Leslie Frazier as a coach. He's a good defensive mind. I would hate this. I would absolutely hate this if I was the Chicago Bears. Number one, Leslie Frazier is almost 63 years old, and he's a defensive guy. I don't mind hiring a defensive guy, but I would, if I'm going to, it better be one with a good head coaching track record, which Leslie Frazier does not have that. Number two, I want a proven play caller to work with Justin Fields. Ken Dorsey's not a proven play caller, so I would not like this at all whatsoever to bring in Leslie Frazier to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears. I want to ask you guys, would you like hiring Leslie Frazier as the new head coach? Type L for like, type D for dislike. I'm going to put a YouTube ad break right here, and this is also going to be the pinned comment on this video. So if you get hit with that ad break, scroll on down, type L for like, or type D for dislike. Okay, so more on Frazier. You look at his head coaching stint in Minnesota. This is the only time he's been a head coach. 3 years and change, took over as the interim in 2010, went 3-3, then went 3-13 in his first full year as a head coach. And then you thought, okay, he's getting momentum, 10-6, made the playoffs, lost in the wild card, but then fell back down. 5-10-1 in 2013, overall 21-32-1. Now, he's been a really good defensive mind. He connects with players really well, so I like that. I wouldn't mind him as the defensive coordinator of this team in the future if the new head coach wanted to bring him in as DC. He was on the 1985 Bears team where he played on that defense, so obviously he has a connection to this franchise, but I just don't love the idea of hiring a coach in his 60s that has never been successful as a head coach. If I'm hiring an older candidate like this, I want a guy who's won as a head coach. Frazier doesn't fit that box. Again, I'd rather go younger if it's someone who's inexperienced as a head coach in the NFL. If I want an older candidate, I need someone who's won in the NFL as a head coach. That has not been the case for Leslie Frazier during his coaching career. But if he wants to be the defensive coordinator, hey, you could do a lot worse than Leslie Frazier. Now, who will the Bears coach be next year? Fill in the blank, predict it for us. The Bears 2022 head coach will be blank. Don't base it on who you want. Base it on what you are predicting will happen. So maybe you still think it's Matt Nagy. Maybe you think it's going to be Leslie Frazier. Let me know what you guys think. Fill in the blank. The Bears 2022 head coach will be blank. All right, next up, we keep it going with the coaching rumors here. Maybe you think Ryan Day's the answer, and if so, fill in his name in that as well. We got to go ahead and reveal this here, Trace. Hire Ryan Day as the Bears head coach. I'm also going to put this in the two smoking Jays category for Chicago. Again, people are talking. Now, what's the origin of this one? I'm not reporting this, but I've heard rumblings from an unnamed, and maybe probably not the strongest source out there, but there's enough smoke at this point between Day and Chicago because of the Justin Fields connection that it's at least something that I think the Bears will reach out and see if he is interested. Day obviously has done wonders at Ohio State, 33-4 as their head coach in 3 seasons, and this year has been his worst yet, and he still went 10-2. I mean, still had a great year, and obviously I think the appeal of coaching Fields in the NFL would be pretty strong from a guy like Ryan Day, who's in his early 40s and is a guy that can run pro and college concepts. Again, I'm not reporting this, but I've heard enough rumblings at this point, can't name names, that Ryan Day to Chicago is at least a possibility. Now, don't come back to me if they don't hire him. You're fake news. I never have once said that they're going to hire him. I'm saying I've heard enough buzz that it's at least a possibility, and I bet they at least reach out, whether it's for an interview or just to kind of gauge interest over the next, weeks, maybe even a month or two between now and the end of the season and the end of the playoffs. Hopefully before the end of the playoffs, this team has a coach in place. I would love Ryan Day in Chicago. Let me make that very, very clear. I would love Ryan Day in Chicago because he's an offensive guru. And, yes, he's actually called plays. This isn't the Matt Nagy's an offensive guru and we were sold bad goods. Like, no, Ryan Day has actually coached and called plays, which, by the way, he knows Justin Fields really, really well. More on that connection in just a moment. But first, Manscaped, today's presenting sponsor. Again, you don't want to keep your balls gnarly and hairy. You want to keep it cleaned up, trimmed, especially for you single gents out there and you're trying to score this holiday season. Go to Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com, promo code BEARS20. The Lawnmower 4.0, which has been flashing on your screen right now, is a great men's grooming hair trimming product. No razor burn, advanced skincare technology, wireless charger. You can use it in the shower as it's waterproof. Battery life is incredible as well. 4 adjustable guards, so if you want to leave, kind of different amounts of hair on there, if you don't want to go full all or nothing, full clean shaven. Maybe your girl likes, a bit of a landing strip, if you will. Manscaped.com, promo code BEARS20. Get 20% off. That link and that promo code will be in the copy and in the comments of this video. More on Day and Fields, because obviously Fields played under Ryan Day at Ohio State. And we talked about this all offseason long, how incredible he was at Ohio State, both as a passer and as a runner. 63 touchdowns, 9 picks as a passer, almost 1,000 yards rushing, and 15 more touchdowns on the ground. And that was honestly underutilized, in my opinion, as a scrambler at Ohio State. Didn't really have to run much with the weapons he was throwing to out there in the Big Ten. But you circle back to, why would you want Ryan Day? No one knows Justin Fields better than this guy. Nobody. No one knows Justin Fields better than Ryan Day. He knows his strengths. He knows his weaknesses. Yes, there are weaknesses that Justin Fields needs to improve on, and he can get the best out of this guy. I truly believe that. Now, I'm not saying he's my flat-out pure number 1 target, but he'd be in my top 3 or 4 at this point. I'm a big fan of Ryan Day's offense. He runs under center concepts. He'll spread you out. He'll go tempo. He'll huddle up. He'll mix up different looks, and I think that built-in connection with him and Justin Fields would be very, very crucial. Speaking of which, so you talk about all this coaching stuff. What style of head coach do you want? Do you want a guy with an offensive background like Ryan Day, or do you want one with a defensive background like Leslie Frazier? Let me know. O for offensive, D for defensive. Cast your votes down in the comments section. All right, rumor roundup number 3 here. Justin Fields is back. It's not a rumor. It's a fact. 4 smoking Jays. Bear down, baby. He's playing on Sunday Night Football against the Green Bay Packers. Both Justin and Matt Nagy revealed that on Wednesday afternoon. Nagy said that Fields' ribs are completely healed. Now, Fields did admit that there's still pain there and that, especially in this first game back, he will have to be smart about trying to limit the amount of hits he's going to take. So maybe that means he won't scramble quite as much as he normally would. But said this injury, and this made me feel a lot better, because remember, he cracked his ribs in the college football playoff last year. which caused him a lot of pain. He said this wasn't nearly as bad as that. Like, that one back in January was much, much worse. That's a good sign. He said after the national championship game, he had to literally not do anything for 4 or 5 weeks. That's how much pain he was in when he suffered those injuries. But let's be honest. Fields playing in this game, this gives Sunday Night Football more juice. I mean, I was not ready for Aaron Rodgers versus either Andy Dalton or Nick Foles. And by the way, we should mention Andy Dalton has a left hand injury. He may not even play. So if Fields wasn't ready, it was going to be the Nick Foles show against Aaron Rodgers. NBC is fired up to have Fields out there instead for this rivalry game on Sunday Night Football. Obviously, the numbers for Fields as a passer, I don't think they tell the full story. If you look at a lot of the advanced metrics, especially how he's improved throughout the season throwing the football downfield, that would show a better story for Fields. We know he's been good as a runner. Again, we'll see how much of that he's going to be able to do in this game. But I'm just glad he's playing. That brings more energy to this game. And it's important for him to play in this game against the Packers because he needs to get a feel. What's it like to go to Lambeau Field in December in a cold environment, NFC North matchup against an opponent that has owned you in recent years? He needs to play in these type of games. Win, lose, or draw, this is going to be a great experience for him and some of these other young guys to get out there and let it rip against the Packers on Sunday Night Football. Want to add this as well. Allen Robinson appears to be back as well. He said the expectation is to play on Sunday. Doesn't sound like he's, 100%, ready to go, but the way he's talking, he's going to play against the Packers on Sunday night. So that's big. You get your quarterback back. You get Allen Robinson back, who's starting to play a little bit better and build some of that chemistry with Fields before both these guys went down in the last few weeks. So to get these guys back, you need all hands on deck if you want to have a chance to beat the Green Bay Packers. Now, I know that in my preview, which, by the way, when I filmed that, I didn't know if Fields was going to play or not. I certainly didn't know if A-Rob was going to play. I predicted Packers 34-13. Predict the score. I'm going to ask you guys again now that Fields and it looks like A-Rob are going to play as well. I'm not going to all of a sudden pick the Bears, but I do feel like Chicago can at least be a little bit more competitive in this one. Maybe it's more like 31-20 instead of just a 21-point blowout, but we'll have to wait and see. Get your score prediction in. Let us know who you think is going to win, so we know, what your full prediction is. Don't just put 20-12, and I'm like, well, which team has 20? Say Bears 20, Packers 12, Packers 30, Bears 20, etc. down in the comments. All right, subscribe. We're about to sign off again. We're trying to reach 38,000 subs before kickoff of Sunday Night Football. Don't be one of those people that didn't help us get there because, hey, if the Bears get blown out, you didn't quite do your part. Help us out. We'll be live for that game as well. And, of course, a couple of videos between now and then. We'll see you next time here on Chicago Bears Now.